Hey guys, it's me, Chris.
Hey everybody, it's me, Robert.
And it's us, the Film Flamers, and we're bringing you the hottest of hot takes. Well, I don't know, like a simmering hot take, I guess, since we saw it with everyone else on opening night.
Yeah.
Scream the Seven. Scream of Seventh.
Seventh Scream, known to man. And so we're here to talk about that.
Was Scream 6 just titled Scream, or was that 5?
That was 5.
Oh.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be like the rebooting.
Oh, well, they did not. They failed.
They did. They were able to bring some of those characters over to 6, although it was, Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Which
thing.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
I like the Hayden Panettiere of all of that.
Yes, I like it when they bring back characters that I like. Yeah,
actually, it took me an embarrassing amount of time in this film to remember the twins, the brother and sister.
Really? But they were in both those movies.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
And that guy's so hot.
Because those movies, wasn't he in Hard Eyes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I remember him from. Anyway, so great to see them again, and I'm glad they survived. Spoilers.
Well, they survived that one for sure. We knew that.
Yes.
And so they're here again. All right. So again,
Scream 7.
Hot take, Scream 7.
Neve Campbell.
We will try our hardest not to spoil something, but if we know our listeners, come on, you guys all want to go see this weekend in the theater, right?
But Neve Campbell came back for this because she actually got paid.
Yep.
Courtney Cox and her Christy Noam face is in this film as well.
Yes. And
who plays Neve Campbell's husband?
Joe McHale.
What is he?
He's
been in a lot, right?
He was on The Soup, right?
He's been in a lot, but he's a lot taller than I thought he was. Anyway,
he's a comedic actor.
Yes.
I thought that was a really odd casting for this. Yeah, actually,
I really kind of expect her to be more with like a Liv Schreiber type. Oh wait, no, sorry, or Skeet Ulrich, maybe even a Matthew Lillard,
maybe even, but no, it's just Joe McHale as her husband. And okay, all right, so obviously, many, many things have happened in the franchise of Scream 7, as Chris has already said, and more things are happening now. But we're back on Sidney Evans, as it were, not Prescott.
Oh yeah, Sidney Evans
and her family. But here's the thing. I remember from Scream 5, where she's like, out for a jog with the twins, right? But I don't remember nary a mention of an older daughter ever in those movies.
Yeah, there's lots of different things happening in this movie that are kind of retconny.
But as you all know from the trailers, she has an older daughter. She's named her daughter Tatum, after her friend, the McGowan.
But yeah, why didn't the McGowan make an appearance? Is she canceled too?
She did.
McGowan's not dead.
Her character's dead.
Well, I mean, like in the AI, in their AI.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that would have been really like hardcore
and on the nose.
Yeah, and emotional for Sidney Evans.
Maybe like the rest of the world, no one likes that actress.
Maybe. I don't know. She's outspoken.
Like even liberals don't want her.
She's too outspoken. That's why. And if the Scream franchise is known for anything, it's for firing people for being outspoken.
That's right.
So there was already a script in place.
Including Neve Campbell, because she's outspoken about getting paid.
That's right. So there's already a script in place for Scream 7 following the other characters from the previous 2 films. But, main actress spoke out about, Israel and Palestine, and she was fired.
And didn't the director step away too, or?
Yes, causing Kevin Williamson, the original screenwriter from the first Scream, to step into the director's chair as he also co-wrote this film with someone else. So this movie really is all about bringing it back home to the original and all about the nostalgia. They're really cashing in on the fact that there was a whole movie without Neve Campbell.
Yeah, and they mentioned that a couple of times. Although, one of those times was actually in a trailer for Scary Movie, which they're also just calling Scary Movie instead of like Scary Movie 4 or whatever the fuck it is.
It's another rebooting, but not with the same characters though.
Yeah. And they were like, they're talking about Final Girls and they're like, what is a Scream without Neve Campbell? He's like, Scream 5. I wanted to see that movie more than this one, I think.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to that movie as well. And I caught the tail end of the trailer as I was walking into the theater, and it seems funny. Like, I'll watch it.
You know? Oh, yeah, it was great. Anyway, back to Scream.
Back to the movie at hand.
Yeah, and so it does feel like, in this day and age where we had things like Whistle and Primate and more specifically the monkey, where there's like every fucking kill is amazing, this definitely feels like a throwback, but also a throwback in like, we're just going through the plot. We're kind of painting by numbers and there's very little new here, if anything. In fact, the little new that they do have kind of gets thrown away by the time that it's exposition time, which is like now a tradition, I guess, that they're doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on in Scream movies, where they literally will have like a 10-minute sequence with the killer talking exposition at Sidney or whoever is the survivor, the final girl. And I hate that.
Yeah, they all have to explain themselves, and also per tradition, there's always that moment where they talk about, whatever the meta aspect is of this particular Scream. And as this movie was going on, I was like, well, maybe they're not going to do that this time. And then we got it.
In 20 years, it's going to be like, no, I'm your clone from a Petri dish, No. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to talk about this really without spoiling it. But, I'm going to have to say, like, don't go to the theater and see it. Wait for it on streaming. If you're part of the fandom of Scream, worth seeing. Definitely we're seeing for Neve Campbell. I think she's underutilized as an actress.
Yeah.
I miss her. I thought maybe she was going places in really interesting roles, like in Wild Things and other things. And then she went into like the territory of rom-coms and then Scream movies, and that's it, and just disappeared,
Yeah, she really stopped working, but like, I didn't think that the acting was bad in this movie. I thought Neve Campbell did really well, and there will not be a Scream movie without one Courtney Cox. So I think that Courtney Cox in this was delightful, like for the moments that she was there, like she's just being a bitch and cussing a lot. And I'm like, that's fine. That's what I expect from that character. And I thought it was good. I thought it was fun, I thought the twins coming back was fun, although weird how they're sort of like shoehorned in. What I really don't like, though, is that you're right. It becomes really like paint by numbers kind of slasher movie.
Very formulaic to it's like a slave, ironically.
Yeah.
It tried to be meta with a piece of it. There's an AI piece of it, or like a question of AI, and they tried to be a little meta with that. And it's very kind of forced.
Yeah. I mean, and the meta aspect of this, kind of like we said, is, nostalgia, right? It's what they're hinting at anyway. And there's a really good nostalgia payoff that I will say, that we won't spoil, but like that was one of the only parts of this movie I really liked, aside from some of the inventive kills. And, like Chris said earlier, like these days in a horror movie, if you're going to have gore and you're going to have kills, they've got to be inventive and they've got to be cool. And we just talked about this in our hot take on Whistle, and this is no different. So there are some really cool kills in this movie that, made me happy that I was watching it. But the rest of it, God, and I got really nervous because I checked the Rotten Tomato score before we went, and I was like 33%. That's bad. And then the audience scores at 78%, and I was like, that's surprising. And so I felt like going into this movie, it had to be somewhere in the middle of that. And
as these franchises go on, it's the fans that see it, and then that's the audience, right?
That's right.
And so you see the same thing happening to like the Twilight movies near the end and other things where it's just like the audience score is high, and the critic score is low.
What were your expectations like going into this movie, though?
I expected fully it to be Matthew Lillard because he's kind of more in the public eye now.
Yeah.
He's more of a discussion, and he was in this, or was he? Like, we don't know. You have to see the movie. But like, I fully expected like him to because I wanted him to live too. No body, no death. Really, like we saw Skeet Ulrich's character get a shot in the head, but like we don't really see Stu. He got hit, the TV fell on his head and he like twitched a little bit, And so I kind of wanted that actor to come back too, because that actor's good, I thought,
What's the Scream's level of fan service, right? So like the social medias were clamoring for Hayden Panettiere to make a return, and there she was, right? And then after that,
what? Who?
She was in Scream 6.
Yeah, but she wasn't in this.
No, she wasn't. That's what I'm saying. They got their wish with that movie. And then everyone's been talking about Matthew Lillard coming back like nonstop on social media. And of course, here he is, And so like at this point, I feel that people were just listening to what people say on social media. And they're like, okay, there's our movie, or whatever. And I'm like, you can't make a movie like that. And at some point, as much as you love a franchise, there needs to be an end.
Yeah.
And I feel like Scream is...
There's just no end in sight. Now I really want there to be an end. I just don't care anymore. Unless they just are willing to go outside of the box. I feel like this franchise just is not adventurous. Like the closest thing they got to get out of the box is New York, But I feel like other franchises have been more adventurous. I feel like the Nightmare on Elm Street specifically has been very adventurous. Jason, hell, like Jason in space. I mean, I'm like, come on, like let's get out of the box a little bit. Let's see what happens. But it's just like because this killer is so intrinsically tied to Sidney and everything. That's why they keep tying themselves to Sidney and family and friends and people that were inspired by it, and is so tired. Like, it's just a template.
Well, at this point, they've already run the gamut of the original cast. Like the twins were related to Randy, from the first couple movies. And then we've already had Skeet come back in some kind of a way, right? And then, we've had Neve miss a movie and come back. Gail Weathers has always been there. We had Dewey getting killed. Like there's no one else that they can really like latch onto from that. And so they really need to just make a final movie that like hammers the nail into the coffin and just say, all right, this is it. No more Screams, And I don't know how well this is going to do at the box office. I will say that our theater seemed really sparse. Yeah. And if it doesn't make a lot of money, they're not going to make many more of these movies. So maybe that's a blessing. Who knows? But I did see a headline today that said Scream 7 is the movie that the original was sort of making fun of, right? And I was like, that's a terrible thing to think about. But ultimately, this movie becomes way too formulaic. They start killing off teenagers that we have barely gotten to know, so we don't care about the cast.
Yeah, I did feel like for a time in this movie that like they had tried to shift to a teenage audience, and like you don't know your audience. Like no one's here because they want to see Scream 7 as, fucking Gen Z or whatever the fuck, people are here from millennials and Gen X and older, Yeah. And that's your audience, and you need to double down, especially because half your marketing is that Neve Campbell came back.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that like half this movie is YA bullshit,
Yeah, I mean, that's true. They have a whole plot point where her daughter is named after her best friend from the original movie. And then like, if you're really creating a movie for people that young, right, then they wouldn't know. Unless they are just a fan of the original movie and they've gone back to watch it because they think it's fucking classic cinema. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you rate Scream 7?
I ran it through scans, and it's very middle of the road. I ended up giving it 2.5. I was tempted to raise that to 3, just for nostalgia's sake and for Neve Campbell, but it's 2.5. It's so beige.
Yeah, I gave it a 3-star rating, which is my brand of middle of the road, Yeah. Like, I don't think that it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a good movie. It was fine, and I don't know, like I don't have any strong feelings about it regardless. And I would rather, I feel, have hated it so much, but I didn't, And so I honestly think that after a couple weeks, I will have forgotten Scream 7.
Yeah, same.
Well, I think that wraps up our hot take conversation on this film. As always, we want to know if you went to go see Scream 7 this weekend, and what did you think about it, and what did you think about our conversation? Find us on social media at The Film Flamers, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Threads.
You can email us, thetiredqueens@filmflamers.com, or call our hotline at 972-666-7733. Let your voice be heard.
All right. We have other content coming out for you this month. It's Zombie Month, so stay tuned as we cover Mads and Wild Zero. Well, Chris,
I
I think it's time for me to go off and, I don't even know, dream about that hot guy from this movie and have some sweet dreams.